Hello everyone, it's Rezi here. Now, yes, I have not uploaded in nearly a month, and there's a good reason to this. As some of you know, the ones that are following me on Twitter would know that I recently, not really recently, more than a month ago, released a poll stating what you guys would like to see in my next video. What is the most cancerous community in Call of Duty history? A good majority of you voted for hardcore domination on BO4. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Hardcore domination on BO4 was pretty cancerous. The amount of egos people got for shooting a brekkie into a wall or a havoc, shooting at a wall with a brekkie or a havoc on Nuketown, and getting a 50 gun streak or a double nuke was immense. It was unreal. And that's when the whole surge, as I call it, the surge of this neo pub stomping, neo comp player attitude came along. The narcissistic, just sociopathic traits that these people exhibit is amazing to the extent that I myself have studied a decent amount about these people. Of course, most of them are the exact same age as me, 19, or maybe even younger, up to the age of 17, 16, 14, 15. But of course, same with me as I was a younger boy back in the day during the BO2 multi-team days. It was understandable, but it's gotten to a point where it's just absolutely, it's just, oh, you just can't ignore it. It's disgusting. But that's not what this commentary is about. It is about, of course, multi-team. Now, those of you who have been long-time subs, especially those who have been day one subs, know me from multi-team. For those of you who do not know what multi-team is, it was, and I'm going to say was because, well, let's be honest with ourselves here, multi-team is dead. I got on it. I got on BO2 yesterday, borrowed it from a friend, and I checked to see how many people were on BO2. Of course, there are 5,000 people on BO2. But on multi-team, the best numbers you can get on that thing is about 3, at most. Least, of course, 0. Compared to how the numbers were back in the day, upwards to sometimes 2,000. But of course, 2,000, Resi, and a playlist? That's garbage. But you guys don't understand. 99% of those players were garbage. They had no idea what game they were playing. They had no thumbs. I'm not using that as a metaphor. I'm sure most of these fucking people were literal amputees. Okay, that's a little bit too mean. But that tells you something about multi-team. It was the epitome of pub stomping. That's in my own opinion, of course. Many of you have your other opinions, such as MW3 was the epitome of pub stomping, which I can totally agree because I do believe MW3 was a great game. It was an amazing game, actually. It was superb, actually, for pub stomping. That's when the whole community blew up. BO2 multi-team was a bit different. It instilled this mentality, this overwhelming surge to not only get a gameplay, but to get the world records that we now have seen in the past 7 years of Black Ops 2's existence. Now, of course, this video is long, as you can tell. Almost an hour, boyos. This is my longest video that I've ever done. Right next to the recent video that I released about 2 months ago. The great multi-team Bitcoin heist. Now, of course, that is a story that we'll include in this one, but a more lessened version. I'm not going to make it into 25 minutes. It's going to be a short history. Short, because this is literally the exact same amount that you have in a history class in high school or college. But trust me, boys, if you listen to this video and watch it, you will understand what I mean. Now, before I continue, the gameplays you are watching in the background are in this correct order: a 112 gun streak on carrier, a 109 gun streak on carrier, back-to-back gun streaks actually, using the Scarage with a laser. I know, don't roast me. A 115 gun streak on slums using the AN, a 100 gun streak on Yemen, I believe, using the Scar. A solo triple nuclear on raid, a triple nuclear on hijacked with the MTAR, and a triple nuclear on slums with the Scar, I think. I might add more gameplays, because this is a pre-com to the video that I'm going to edit eventually. But if I do add another gameplay, it will probably not be a multi-team gameplay. It'll probably be a hardcore domination gameplay, probably like a triple nuke or a 90, 100 gun tree. But it really depends on how long I keep the commentary going. Now, boys, let's begin. And exploring the most toxic, the most degrading and degenerate part. Let's begin our history on the most toxic, the most cancerous, yet the most fascinating and most diverse, for lack of a better word, community and COD history. Black Ops 2, multi-team. Now to say multi-team in general had a hard upbringing for pub stomping, that's a pretty bad thing to say. It's not a bad thing to say, but it's true. Multi-team originally was amazing compared to what it was during 2016. Let's just say that. Now, we'll say this. I was not around during 2012 to play Black Ops 2. However, I was there to watch these gameplays that were eventually released, and I was there eventually in the future to befriend many of these players that have gotten these gameplays, many of these quote-unquote multi-team legends, and yes, that was a term that was widely used to call someone that was around for a long, long time in the multi-team days. A multi-team legend. Now, of course, there are too many of them to list off, but I will list off the ones that come to mind. Now, remember, boys, multi-team was not only a thing on Xbox 360. It was a big thing on PS3. Trust me. To start off, I'll name some of the Xbox boyos that I have known, the ones that I have seen really good gameplays from them, and then I'll continue to the pub stomping teams. Start off on the Xbox side, the ones that I really do remember, and of course, love as a not only a person but as a player. We have Counts. We have Jacob. That's his name. KD Counts was a god. I'll just say it right now. Him and Tolerance and Cams and all these other boyos, they were good. When I say good, that's not even a good thing to say. They were amazing. They were clappers on pubs on multi-team. Trust me, they were. We have Horror Story II. He was the inspiration for me to get the II after my tag. He was the inmate god. He had FiOS every time he got host. And whenever I say every time he got host, I meant he literally got host every single game. But when he had it, it was insane. Just one burst everybody from across the map with the inmate. For more of the Xbox players, I'm not going to be including myself. I don't view myself as a multi-team legend. I just view myself as someone that came in during 2014, 2 years later. Some people have called me a multi-team legend, but I would totally disagree with that notion. Compared to these guys, definitely not. Of course, we have Vatic. Yes, Tyler, I'm bringing you up. Man. You see, Vatic was an odd person. He was a member of FBYA, feared by all. And as I said before, I'm going to be bringing up teams later on in the video. But with Vatic, he was a good pub stomper. He was a good competitive player. But of course, as multi-team slowly degraded into this cesspool of degeneracy, he didn't play anymore. Overall, Vatic was a great player. I'm still friends with him. He still plays. He's ass at Apex. Don't tell him I said that, but he's ass. I know you're listening, Tyler. You're ass. Not playing, man. I love you. No homo. But of course, there are a lot more players I just can't list off. I can remember Ravagings. He was a good friend of mine. He was to be honest, he was nasty. Alright? He had a high ass KD. Granted, he did dashboard, but he was nasty. What else we got? There's just so many that I can't really remember their names. Or I can remember their names, but there's just too many of them. There was too much, to be honest. We had Sensism. He's been around since the FBYA days. Sensism is still a good friend of mine until this day. He is a fucking beast. This man's got like size 15 shoes, though. I swear, this man, he's wearing them goddamn big old clown shoes nowadays. But I'm just fucking with you, Sense. But there's a lot of people. We have I Lions. His name was Trevor. We had NBA legend, the beloved NBA legend. Not even legend, but legend because he had a lisp. He had this weird, odd way, this Southern Georgian. I think he was from Virginia. He had this really fucking obvious Southern accent, but we loved him because he was so, as a personality, he was something else to the community. Granted, he did not get the most gameplays or the best gameplays, but he was the most beloved person in the community by far. To be honest, maybe even the history of multi-team. He had personality, charisma, and of course, oh my god, the jokes, man, the jokes he would say. Ah, this guy is fucking lawnmower. I can't do his voice, but I'm gonna just say this. The lawnmower ran over my internet cable. Hey, what does that even mean? I don't know, dude. But remember, guys, he is the A in God, or the internet warrior. Yes, not warrior, warrior. That's how he said it. He had Astros. He was a really good player. Really good commentator, though. Really good commentator. We had Goblin. Not the other Goblin, but Tappa X Goblin. And as I said before, way too much more that I can barely even list off. But you guys know who you are. You will always know who you are. Now we'll go to the PS3 players. The one that I remember perfectly was Sniper. Now, of course, those of you who have watched Carnage since... Now, when I say when you have watched Carnage since day one, I don't mean I've been here since 2016. I've been watching the team challenges, neck ass. No! Since 2012, since 2013, 14, the good days. Yes, Sniper did fake two gameplays. Two gameplays that I really wish he did not fake. How are you going to fake a gun game nuke, my guy? Come on now, but you can get a solo quad nuke. Okay. But when it came to pub stomping, especially on multi-team on PS4, Sniper was something else. He was a phenom. Now, of course, the debate did start early when it came to PS4 and Xbox, or PS3 to Xbox 360. Which one was easier? I still believe the PS3 was easier. Of course, others will say differently, but a lot more would definitely agree with me as well when it came to multi-team pub stomping. But of course, Sniper, Carnage, Sniper was something else. And none of you remember that name? If you're too young to remember that name, I highly recommend you do some research. Search up the Sniper YT on YouTube. I'm not too sure if he still has his channel, but if he does, or there's little videos on Carnage from like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you'll enjoy them. Trust me. And of course we had Pepe, Farcad Pepe. He was a god, right? He was a Spanish god. He was someone that I viewed as quite possibly the best European player. Now we had Zuby. Now Zuby still has his channel. He doesn't upload that much anymore because he's, of course, busy with life, busy with real life things. But when it came to pub stomping in general on BO2, not only was he insane on multi-team, but he was insane on hardcore domination. The amount of 7 on-screens, the amount of quad nukes, triple nukes he would get on that was immense. His M27 shot and his reaction time on that game mode was insane. To be honest, between him and Pepe, it's kind of a toss-up, to be honest. They're both great players. Of course, Zuby was from France, and we all know what the good old stereotype about the French. They've been shooting us around corners since day one. Okay, boys? Every single time you go up against them, oh, I'm behind the corner. Nope, you're looking right at them. They just shoot you through walls, man. Their connection is fucking crazy. And of course, we had German players. I just can't remember their names. But we had the gods that were on the German team for PS4. The German side for PS4. Or PS3. But there's one more. I genuinely cannot remember his name. But he was a god on PS3. Not related to Sniper. What was his name? I can't quite put my finger on it. But of course, boys, there are so many of you on PS3, on PlayStation, those of you that are on PS4 now, who know exactly what I'm talking about. How good multi-team was on PS3. And how, for you, all you boys that are on, maybe on PS4, we're still rocking that on the Xbox One. You know how amazing it was on the Xbox 360. Now, there were faults to multi-team. Faults that continuously plagued to its demise. Now, of course, the person that made it popular, you can't deny his impact in the pub zombie community. To be honest, if you watch his channel now, I don't blame you. His channel is amazing. And of course, before I continue with the teams, I cannot skip this good old man, Anthony Abdullah. Okay? Or just Abdullah, also known as OMG. It's Birdman. Yes, many of his viewers, many of his subscribers know him from multi-team. He had an extremely, his account, multiple accounts, which he got really good stats on, were of course on Demolition. But he was pretty good on multi-team. When it came to multi-team, he basically popularized. I can't even say that word, but he made this term anti. Yes, I know some of you may have cringed by that word, but he made that word popular. He made that thing popular. Now, before I continue, I will bring up these really good anti names. Vatic, I think you remember the Naquinator. Okay. And Colonels, man, if you're watching this, I don't hate you, dude. I love you, okay? Because you've been around since a long time. But with your fucking riot shield, dude, I swear to God. But yeah, boys, the Naquinator, Colonels, man, and all these other boyos. If you saw them in multi-team and you had a good lobby, they're not gonna leave. They're gonna piss you off. That's what they did. But of course, they drew inspiration from Birdman. Birdman has hundreds of episodes on his main channel and his second channel, strictly dedicated to anti on multi-team. And yes, I was uploaded on his second channel. And of course, many of you know that's when I barely got into pub stomping. I was still technically a sniper with decent stats. I had no idea who Birdman was. I had no idea what this notion of anti was. I couldn't comprehend it. And I found out he uploaded me, so I did more research, and I'm like, oh, he's been around since, for years. But when I saw that, I'm like, there really is something with multi-team that makes it so interesting and popular. But of course, boys, as we now know, Birdman is the epitome of success out of multi-team. His channel is amazing. I do love his commentary, especially when he talks about the feminists, the degenerates, as I call them, the feminists, the degenerates, for lack of a better word, parasites. But Anthony, or Abdullah, thank you for what you have done to multi-team, dog. Honestly, you did. Though it may have done a bad impact, it was still a great impact at that. Like, think about it, boys. Though multi-team had the anti problem, would it really be as memorable if it did not have it? I don't think it would have. Anti-ing was a crucial part of the game. Crucial part. But besides that, boys, we've already covered most of the players, or the ones that I've named. There's dozens of, hundreds actually, that I just don't want to name. I can't remember their names, or it's just on the tip of my tongue. But besides that, we'll go on with the teams. Now, there's one team I cannot ignore that I have to bring up as first place. AMP. Those of you who are new to the pub stomping community, if it even exists nowadays, probably do not know what AMP was. Now, I'm not going to do the full history on AMP. They were the first pub stomping team. They were the first ones to hit 100,000 subscribers under the notion of them being a pub stomping team. Pub stomping at that time, 2012, 2011, was so perfect. It was beautiful, especially for AMP. If you were an AMP, for example, Zoom V, that was another person I forgot to bring up. Goon V, that's also another person I forgot to bring up. If you were in the exact same team as them, you were gonna blow up. Goon or Zoom, I forget who. I think it was Zoom. He got 50,000 subs off the bat easily, man. At the time, he was the most subbed person on multi-team. People looked up to him. With AMP, however, simply being in that team or knowing someone that was in that team was an odd feeling that only few could truly understand. It is somewhat comparable to having being in Carnage now. For example, Dismo. Dismo, we had Dismo was in Carnage for a long time. I think he still is actually. But of course, we had Apollo that's in Carnage. He's been around since the good old days. He's been in that team for years, man, nearly a decade. But with, of course, with the rise of AMP came its quick downfall. Many of you know who have watched AMP and know the story. You'll remember this name. AMP Luigi. He was, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. He was a dickhead. He was a scumbag. How are you gonna sell your channel to buy some damn Gucci? Think about that. And he was flexing his Gucci belt and his Gucci little shirt, that materialistic little cracker. But it's a shame because Luigi, yes, he did fake a lot of gameplays. And yes, he did eventually sell the channel. But what he did, man, was so fucking retarded. Like, that thing. And of course, Birdman was the one that made the exposing video. He was the one that brought AMP down to its knees. But in saying that, the downfall in AMP did create a new pedestal, for a good word, for lack of a better word, for other pub stomping teams. Of course, the less successful, yet still memorable brother of AMP was Volt, which I was a member of during 2014 to 2015. Volt pub stomping it still exists today, of course, not to the exact same way it was back in the day. The previous owners of it have been owning it for the past 2 years. They've been on and off. They just don't understand the formula, the brotherhood that came out of pub stomping, because they are content creators. They're not pub stompers. They only care about themselves. They don't care about the community, this pub stomping community. They only want one thing, and that is the materialistic value that comes out of owning these teams. Which, of course, most of them only own their own channels. And do, of course, I don't want to throw any shots, but fake giveaways, okay? Right, fake giveaways. But my time in Volt was pretty fun. I met a lot of good people. My time in Volt, especially, I met one really good person, one amazing person, that I'm still friends with to this day. And of course, how can we forget the sniping / pub stomping god known as Vucid? Alright, now Vucid, I know you're not a pub stomper, you're more of a sniper. But let's be real here. If you did not snipe, you'll be a great pub stomper. You would have been a great one, to be honest. You got good gameplays with me as well. This man got a double nuke with the 5.7, could have been a triple nuke. He also got some other 70 gun streaks. Pretty good though. But Vucid has been a good friend of mine for 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. That's the longest friendship I had on Xbox Live. And of course, we had those people that had it for decades, or not really decades, but more than a decade, almost close to a decade. But the friendships that I've gotten while being in Volts, of course, with Vucid, with NBA Legend, with Lions, Astros, and Ciente, and of course, Vedic. They were something that was really good. More like not really. It was a bonding moment. It was a moment for everybody to mature. Of course, you guys watch my older videos. You know that my voice was quite odd. It was high pitched. Now it's somewhat deep, to the extent that I like it deep. That's clearly high. That's called maturity. Your vocal cords are different. Your voice box will always be different from when you were younger. Excuse me. Oh, a little bit of an ear rape there, I'm sorry. But besides Volt, we also had Tapbacks. Now, Tapbacks has been around for a long time, believe it or not. The owner, the creator, Scatman, he's been around for a long, long time. Shit, since the MW3 days, they knew each other. We had Scatman, we had UAV, also known as Mike, we have Kevin, also known as Creations. Did I say Creations? Pause. Hold up. Wait a minute. Did I just call Kevin Creations? I'm about to shoot myself. That's not. Anyways, you guys know what I'm talking about. These three boyos. They were simply something else. They were the epitome of Tapex. They were the faces of Tapex. Now, of course, when we look at Tapex now, it's just. It's not to the exact same way that it used to be, as we all know, boys. Even if old leaders return, even if they come back, nothing. Now, when I say nothing, I'm not trying to be mean here, of course. Excuse me. But when I do say this, however, it is a sad truth. Even if old leaders return, they are not going to bring the team back to how it was. This is the sad truth. No matter what, it would never, ever be the same. But of course, with creations, the founder of TapX, that is what he was. That's what Kevin was. The founder, TapX. With those three guys, creations, Scatman, Michael, they were the ones that held the team down together. They knew what they were doing. But of course, as we all know, life hits you hard, especially when you're young. It hits you hard, and sometimes you're unprepared for it. And that goes with these pub stomping teams. You simply can't balance things. If you can balance things, that's because your full-time job is YouTube, as we know with all these big YouTubers. Especially those in the quote-unquote pub stomping community, which, as I said before, no longer exists. It's more like a content creator community, which we use dank memes and loud-ass sounds to convey emotion. We no longer use the exact same thing as I'm doing now. We don't use commentaries. We don't use the exact same, the heart-to-heart thing, if that makes any sense. There's no actual emotion in those things anymore. Commentaries are simply viewed as, well, they're viewed down upon. Like, oh, there's no quality in that. There's no originality in that. But I differ from that. It is a good art that came out of pub stomping. Something not really original, of course, but something that I still view as entertaining. People who still do things like how I'm doing right now, they know, of course, it is not good to let things go. Like, I've known that for a long time. I've already let multi-team go a long time ago. I've already let the pub stomping community go a long time ago. It no longer exists. And for those of you who are still holding on, the fringe minority of you, we're still holding on to the belief that pub stomping will ever come back. Trust me on this. No matter what COD will be released, no matter what COD will be remade, let's say this, if BO2 were to be remade, pub stomping will never be saved. Because we, as a community, as the pub stomping community, have destroyed it ourselves. It's like Rome, for example. The fall of Rome did not happen from outside, it happened from within. It was too big, too powerful. Too powerful to fail, they say. They said. Same with pub stomping. It failed. But still, we can look at these fond memories. Though it has disappeared, the memory of it will never disappear. That is something we need to understand. The memory of it will never disappear. There's still many artifacts on YouTube today that have the remnants of pub stomping, the beginnings, and of course the end. But to continue with saying this, boys, multi-team was really something else. As I've said many times before in this video, the players that came out of it, the personalities that came out of it, the teams that came out of it. Of course, we had Amp, we had Volt, we had TapX, we had Genesis. Remember Genesis, boys? Remember Genetic? Oh my lord. We had FBYA, the OGs. We had Doom. Of course, we can't forget about Doom. We had Carnage. Come on, we can't forget about Carnage, boys. And of course, my favorite European team, Rise. Yes, Rise was my favorite European team. Right next to them was Anonymous. oddly enough, which was Zuby was part of it and actually led the team for a bit. But of course, Anonymous, as we all know, with all these other pub stomping teams, have fallen, sadly. But boys, now I'm not only talking to the multi-team players here, or the multi-team OGs. I'm talking to all of you. If you sincerely believe the community you're in, a part of right now, is the best community in Call of Duty, I would like for you to rethink that notion. Put yourselves in our footsteps, in our shoes, not footsteps. Think about the impact multi-team had in the pub stomping. It had it had a large impact. An impact that's, large is, it's an understatement. It had a ginormous, enormous impact on pub stomping. The world records that were set in multi-team can never ever be matched. No matter what game mode it is, no matter if it's BO4, hardcore domination spawn trapping with a brekkie, or let's say BO4, Black Ops 3. There's no other game that can compare. There is one, actually no, there is one. Black Ops 1. Spawn trapping in the game was something else. I know, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, Wheezy. Alright, Wheezy, you know exactly what I'm talking about on that shit. You too, Scatman. You too, Michael. You too, Kevin. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It was something else. Get your M60, get your boys set up. Just easy fucking 1,000 plus at least. But of course, TapX has those records. They will forever have those records. Which is quite amazing. I watch this gameplay still. Excuse me. And watching it just gives me this blissful feeling of, man, I wish those days can come back. I wish I appreciated these days more. Now, of course, it is not good to look in the past, boys, for so long. You must look towards the future. And whatever you do, in your career, in your life, or of course, your pastimes, such as gaming, always look towards the future. Don't always reminisce on the past. There are greater things waiting for you. But of course, you must create that path for yourself. It would not be created for you, unless you're some fucking degenerate. But if it's not created for you, create one on your own. Now, to end the video, I do have like 10 minutes left. I might not even add the other gameplays, but I think I should just for... Also for a meme. Remember that boyo, the crackhead? That, YouTube boys, remember that crackhead that was like threatening? You know, that whole story, boys, if you want to hear about the crackhead story, it's in my recent video. But he isn't that gameplay boyos, and it's blissful, really, to watch this gameplay. It's like, of course, it's not a multi-team gameplay, it's a hardcore domination using the M27 triple nuke. But it was still fun. Multi-team, with its 0 player count. It probably is 0 right now as the time I'm doing this commentary. It is most likely 0. Think about that, boys. From thousands to 0. Of course, we see this with every single game mode in Call of Duty. There are simply game modes that will exist for a long time, forever. Game modes that will thrive. A good example would be Team Deathmatch, Search and Destroy. On BO2, there are thousands. Out of the 5,000, there are 2,000 on TDM alone. And of course, we cannot talk about BO2 without explaining its modder problem. It's not even a problem anymore. It's a disease. It affects everything in BO2. There's mods that are so easy to acquire. All you have to do is watch a theater clip. And there you go. You have a mod menu. That reminds me. On my stats, yes, my stats did get modded. They did get hacked. It's not really a long story, it's actually quite short. Some idiots on the enemy team modded my stats because I was about to get a nuke on him. Me and my boy Vucid were just smacking his whole entire format, you know. If you can't hang with the gods, don't play our game. It's as simple as that. Go play some Fortnite. Go play some BO3. You cannot hang with us. But of course, my KD was dropped from a 7 to a, I think, 0.2. And I got like, that boy added like 500,000 days played on my account. I was like, damn, but did he touch my nukes? Hell no. I still got 400 nukes in that account in the span of 6 days played. I'll tell you something, boys. Black Ops 2, but multi-team also. That formula it had, 3 teams, 3 players in each team. It was perfect. It was perfect for lethal gameplays. It was perfect for non-lethal gameplays. Especially non-lethal gameplays. UAV counter VSAT, UAV Guardian VSAT, or hell, UAV VSAT and EMP. The amount of gameplays that came from that playlist alone, from that game mode alone, I can't even tell you how many there are on YouTube. There are hundreds. The exact number I cannot tell you, but yes, there are hundreds of gameplays. And yes, you can find dozens of mine. But of course, as we now know, these gameplays are relics of the past. They are time capsule, if you will, of what pub something was. Its graceful rise to its tumbling fall. That's a good. You see that? That's a good adjective right there. You see what I'm talking about? But it's true. It had a graceful beginning. But we ourselves are responsible. The pub stompers. We're responsible for its death. Can we do anything about it? Of course not. It's dead. The multi-team is dead. Pub stomping in general is dead. However, as I've said before, we should look at these moments. Not all the time. Don't look at the past all the time. But we need to look at the past a few times to remember what we were as pub stompers. Now remember, boys, I'm sure most of you, the OGs, you're definitely in your mid-20s by now. Some of you, maybe even 30. I know some of you guys are 30 years old. I, however, am still young. I'm only 19. And of course, that may come to some shock. Like, Rezi, you're only 19 and you've been in this community for a while. Yes, I have. But that just goes to show you, I'm one of the few remnants, artifacts, if you will, of multi-team, of what it once was. Yes, I am a young person compared to other people. But yes, I do know a large amount of history in multi-team, about multi-team. And so do others, like Vatic. He's still young. For somebody that played multi-team during its prime, he's still young. But of course, boys, I don't want to end this video on a really somber note, but I want to leave it on more of a inspirational note. Though multi-team is dead, though we ourselves have caused its death, we mustn't forget the beautiful, the fondest moments, the most bondest of moments as well, the bonding we have created with our friends. Those that we may even view as family, which is weird because I know some of you view each other as family. Most of you haven't even met up with each other in real life. But we shouldn't forget about these moments, boys. This is going to sound really cheesy, but we should cherish these moments. They are part of us as a human being. They are part of us as a this artifact name known as pub stomping, as a pub stomper. No one in this community, as I call it, no one in 2016 to the 2019 pub stomping community, they don't understand the greatness of multi-team. They will never understand it. If you tell them, hey, you ever played multi-team? Excuse me, the vast majority of them will tell you, no, what is multi-team? You know what a VSAT is? Oh, I know what a VSAT is. How can you know what a VSAT is but not what multi-team is? But of course, most of them are jetpackers. Yes, that is a fucked up thing to say. Most of them are jetpackers. Most of them are IW players. Most of them are BO3 players. But if you put them up against a Black Ops 2 player on Black Ops 2, especially a multi-team player, they will not do anything. They will not win a single game against you. Of course, if you put yourself up against them on the game, you still have a chance. Why? Because they're jetpackers. They don't understand what true skill is. But of course, boys, that's really weird. That was an odd thing to fucking say, actually. That was retarded. But to end the video completely off, yes, Multi is dead. But don't ever, boyos, listen to listen to what I'm about to say. Don't ever forget those memories. It's okay to look in the past with this blissful idea, with the sun, the just think about it in a good way. Remember the bad things about it too. Multi-team wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. Let me take that back. It wasn't perfect, but it was great. It was something else. It was a once in a lifetime opportunity for many of us to experience multi-team, to understand the pains of choking a quad nuke, the pains of choking a triple, the pains of getting anti 1v3'd anti on Plaza using Ghost. No matter what you are, no matter what nationality, what race, what ethnic group, or even what religion you are, you know exactly what I mean when you're on a nice ass gun streak and one of your boys says, "Oh shit, there's a fucking anti joining," and then you quickly pull up the scoreboard to see who it is, and you realize you're on a 79 gun streak with 3 minutes left. Boy, you sure as hell know that Nibba ain't leaving on your ass. You're sure as hell know he ain't leaving on you. That man's gonna stay and kill you on an 80 gun streak with 2 minutes left. You could have probably gone 100 gun streak. I know how the feeling is, but of course, that's what we made multi-team amazing. You never know what you're gonna get. You never know what's gonna happen to you. Yes, you might get hit offline by some fucking degenerate that has an OG tag, but trash and everything else. But you know they're just materialistic parasites. But who cares? The thrill of getting a gameplay was beautiful. The thrill of creating friendships that are still lasting till this day was beautiful. And of course, even the feeling of getting antied was not good. Looking back at it now, it was fun. That's pretty much it, boys. This video was really long. I never spoken for this long. It was as if I was doing a political speech, something fascism. But for any of you who watched towards the end, or the actual whole video, thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. Yes, it was almost an hour long, and boy, I need some goddamn water, but thank you for listening. Greatly appreciate it. And of course, most of you who are watching till the end, you know exactly who you are. You are the multi-team OGs. And if you're not, thank you either way. At least you have some knowledge of what multi-team was and how amazing it was. Of course, my words can never truly explain how amazing it was. If you want to find out, just search up multi-team gameplays on YouTube. Find out people who played multi-team, watch their gameplays. Only then will you find out how amazing it truly is. Of course, we can never acquire or reignite that spark, that flame of multi-team. But we can always remember, with a fondness, and of course, the relaxing idea that it will always be a part of us. Well, anyways, boys, I'm gonna end it with that. A really soft, kind, touching way to end. It's been more Rezi. Have a great day as always, and peace.